All right, awesome. So you want to dive deep into personal branding.
Sounds good to me.
You even sent in a podcast episode to guide our deep dive today.
That's dedication. Love it.
I know, right? You submitted Brand You, building your personal brand.
Great choice.
Yeah. Specifically, we're looking at the episode titled Introduction to Personal Branding, Defining Your Unique Value.
That's a fantastic starting point.
Totally. It focuses on why personal branding is so important.
And those crucial first steps, right?
Yes, exactly. You'll discover some super interesting insights.
Like what?
Oh, things like, why isn't personal branding just for CEOs anymore?
Good question.
And how does your digital presence factor into all of this?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Well, to kick things off, let's break down what personal brand actually means.
Makes sense.
The podcast hosts, Alex and Taylor, define it as projecting your strengths, personality, and values.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that before, but what does that really mean?
I know, right? It sounds kind of vague.
Yeah.
What stands out to you about that definition?
Well, what's interesting to me is the emphasis on authenticity, you know?
Yeah.
It's not about faking it until you make it.
Right.
It's about being genuine, aligning who you are with what you want to achieve.
Ooh, I like that. Aligning who you are with what you want to achieve.
Exactly. So think of it this way. Your personal brand is like a bridge connecting your authentic self to your goals.
I see. So it's about amplifying your genuine strengths.
Yes. And your values. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So it's not just about, like, slapping on a label.
Exactly.
It's about figuring out what makes you you,
Right.
and then making sure the world sees it.
That's the key.
Okay, so we've covered what a personal brand is,
Yeah.
but why is it so important, especially now? The podcast mentions a bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, in today's world, especially with the whole digital age, your online presence, as your personal brand.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, whether you're intentional about it or not. Think about it. People Google you, they stalk your LinkedIn,
Uh-huh, true.
they check out your posts online. That's their first impression of you.
It's like your digital first impression.
Exactly. And if you don't put effort into crafting your brand online, well, you're basically leaving it up to chance.
And that can be risky, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Especially for someone like you. You're looking to mention listener-specific goal based on submitted sources.
Right.
For goals like that, trust and credibility are essential.
Couldn't agree more. Building that trust is like laying the foundation for success.
Exactly.
So we're on board with WHY, personal branding matters. But where do we actually begin?
Well, the podcast suggests starting with self-reflection.
Self-reflection.
Sounds simple, right?
Yeah, but it can be tough.
True, but it's super powerful. Before you can build a brand, you have to understand the building blocks.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's explore those building blocks then. What kind of self-reflection exercises does the podcast recommend?
One of the exercises is identifying your core values.
Core values?
Yeah, your top 3.
The ones that truly define you.
Precisely. They gave some examples in the podcast.
Like what?
Like integrity, creativity, empathy.
Okay. What resonates with you when you hear those words?
Well, those are good examples, but it's crucial to figure out what truly matters to you.
That's a good point. It's got to be personal.
Absolutely. Think about times you felt really proud or faced a tough decision. What values guided you?
Oh, I like that.
What makes you feel aligned with your true self? Those are the values we're talking about.
Love it. It's about going deeper than just like surface level traits.
Exactly.
It's about those fundamental principles that drive you.
Yes.
Okay, what's the next exercise?
The next one is all about passion, figuring out what you're truly passionate about.
Ooh, passion.
The podcast encourages you to embrace your inner geek. Let your enthusiasm shine through.
Uh-huh. I love that.
Yeah, let loose. Don't hold back. What truly lights you up?
Okay, yeah.
What could you talk about for hours? Whether it's baking elaborate cakes or collecting vintage video games.
Oh, yeah.
Those passions are a part of what makes you unique.
I see.
They add color and personality to your brand.
And sometimes those unexpected passions lead to unexpected opportunities, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So we've tapped into our values. We've explored our passions. Now, for the slightly tougher part, the podcast suggests identifying both your strengths and your weaknesses.
Oh, yes. Honesty is key here.
Definitely.
It's easy to focus on our strengths, right? but recognizing our weaknesses is just as important.
Sure.
And it's not about putting yourself down. It's about being honest and acknowledging areas where you might need some support or collaboration.
I see, yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes those so-called weaknesses can actually become strengths.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, it's all about how you frame them. Like maybe you're not the most organized person, but you're super adaptable and you thrive in fast-paced environments. That weakness could actually be a huge asset.
That's a good point. It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
And context, too, right?
Precisely. And the podcast has a great tip for getting clear on your strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Get feedback from people you trust. Friends, family, colleagues.
That's something.
They often see things you don't even realize.
Makes sense. So we've spent some time getting to know ourselves, we've uncovered our core values, our passions, and even acknowledged our weaknesses. But now what? How do we actually transform all of this self-awareness into a tangible, personal brand? This is where it gets really interesting, right?
It does. This is where we start crafting your unique value proposition.
Unique value proposition.
Yeah, your UVP. Think of it like your elevator pitch.
Yep.
What makes you stand out from the crowd? Why should people choose you?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Exactly. The podcast gave a great example with a graphic designer. Instead of just saying, I'm a graphic designer, they encouraged her to get specific. What makes her different from every other graphic designer out there?
Ooh, okay. What makes her different?
Maybe she specializes in a certain style, or maybe she's known for super fast turnaround times, or maybe she's incredible at creating logos that capture the heart and soul of small businesses.
Got it.
It's about pinpointing those unique strengths and presenting them in a way that resonates with her ideal clients.
Makes sense. So it's more than just stating your skills and experience.
Right. It's about showcasing what makes you special. And that's where the power of storytelling comes in. The podcast really emphasized how personal stories make brands relatable and memorable.
Yeah, stories are powerful.
They are, and everyone has a story to tell.
True that.
Those experiences, those stories, they shape who we are and what we bring to the table.
So it's not about fabricating some fake persona.
No way.
It's about tapping into your genuine experiences.
Yes. What are those defining moments in your life? What challenges have you overcome? What unique insights have you gained along the way?
Right.
Sharing those stories adds depth, authenticity, and a human touch to your brand. It helps people connect with you on a deeper level.
This is all starting to feel very real.
It is real.
It's like we're taking all these abstract concepts and weaving them into something tangible and powerful.
That's the goal. And remember, authenticity is key throughout this entire process. The podcast was super clear about that.
Don't try to be someone you're not.
Exactly. It won't resonate and people will see right through it. Embrace what makes you you.
That's such good advice.
Your quirks, your passions, your unique experiences, those are the things that make your brand truly stand out.
This has been so eye-opening. We've gone from understanding what personal branding is to uncovering our core values and passions to crafting our UVP and embracing the power of storytelling. We've laid the groundwork for something truly unique.
It's exciting, right?
Yes.
We're just getting started. But before we move on, what are your initial thoughts on everything we've talked about so far?
Well, I'm really starting to.
So you've done a lot of self-reflection, really dug deep to figure out your core values, passions, and even those weaknesses that might actually be strengths.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about.
It is. But now comes the exciting part. We're going to take all those amazing insights and shape them into a really compelling brand identity.
A brand identity. Okay, how do we actually do that? Where do we even start?
Well, think of your brand identity as like the visual and tonal expression of everything we've been discussing.
Oh, okay.
It's how you present yourself to the world.
So, what exactly does that entail?
It's everything. The colors you use,
Uh-huh.
the fonts you choose, the way you write, the images you share. It's all about creating a cohesive look and feel that reflects your unique personality and values.
I see. So the visual elements play a huge role.
Absolutely. The podcast mentioned colors, fonts, images.
Right.
They all contribute to building a consistent brand. Think of it like this. Imagine you're designing the cover of a book about you.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. What kind of vibe are you going for? Is it professional and sleek?
Right.
Playful and whimsical? Bold and edgy?
I get it.
Your visual choices should reflect that essence.
So it's like creating a mood board for your brand.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just your website or logo. It extends to your social media profiles, your email signature, even how you dress for meetings.
Wow, okay. I didn't think about it like that.
It's about creating a consistent experience across all platforms.
Consistency is key. Got it. They also talked about tone of voice in the podcast.
Oh yeah, tone of voice is crucial.
How does that fit into the picture?
Think about how you communicate. Are you witty and informal?
Yeah.
More serious and informative, warm and encouraging?
I see what you mean.
Your tone of voice should feel authentic to you, but also it needs to align with your overall brand message.
So it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it.
You got it. It's about finding that sweet spot where your personality and your brand message just harmoniously coexist.
I like that. Harmoniously coexist.
Yeah.
So we've nailed down our brand identity. Now, how do we actually get it out there into the world?
Content, my friend. Content is king.
Yes. Content creation. This is where I shine.
Yeah.
Blogs, videos, social media.
Exactly. The podcast talked about blog posts, videos, social media updates, even public speaking. There's so many options.
I know, right? It can be overwhelming.
It can. But the key is to think about your target audience.
Right, of course.
What kind of content would they find valuable?
Interesting.
Entertaining. What problems can you solve for them?
It's about adding value to their lives.
Yes. It's not just about shouting about how awesome you are.
No, nobody likes that.
Exactly. And the type of content you create, well, it'll depend on your niche and your goals.
Right.
If you're building a brand around wellness, you might share healthy recipes, workout tips, mental health advice.
Makes sense.
If you're a business professional, you might share insights on leadership, industry trends, career advice. It all depends.
And consistency is important here too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Consistency is key.
Okay.
Like creating a content calendar, sticking to our regular posting schedule.
Exactly. But also quality over quantity. Right.
Always. Always quality over quantity. It's better to have a few amazing pieces of content that truly resonate with your audience than to just churn out a ton of mediocre stuff just to fill your feed.
That's such good advice. And engaging with your audience too, right?
Oh, for sure. Engagement is huge.
Responding to comments, asking questions, having actual conversations online.
It's all about building relationships, not just broadcasting your message.
Yeah, you want to show up as a human.
Exactly. Show your audience that you're not just a faceless brand, that you're a real person who actually cares about connecting with them.
Okay, so we've talked about crafting a brand identity,
Yeah.
creating valuable content, engaging with our audience. But what about when things go wrong?
Uh-oh.
Because, let's be real, not every piece of content is going to be a home run.
True.
And sometimes you're going to face criticism or negative feedback.
Yeah, it happens.
How do we navigate those tricky situations?
That's a great point. The podcast actually addressed this. They stress the importance of handling those situations with grace and authenticity.
So it's not about pretending you're perfect.
Nope.
Or trying to silence dissenting voices.
Not at all. It's about being real and transparent.
Got it.
Don't be afraid to admit mistakes. Address concerns head on. Show that you're always open to learning and improving.
I see. Turn a negative into a positive.
Exactly. It's about turning those potentially negative experiences into opportunities for growth and learning.
And remember, everyone makes mistakes.
Of course.
It's all part of the journey.
Exactly. The key is to learn from those experiences and just keep moving forward. So to wrap up this section on content creation and engagement, what are some key takeaways for our listeners?
I think the biggest takeaway is to be authentic.
Yes,
Be consistent and provide value.
those are the pillars.
Don't try to be everything to everyone.
Right.
Focus on your niche, share your expertise, and build genuine connections with your audience.
Spot on. And remember, personal branding. It's an ongoing journey.
It's not a destination.
Exactly. It's not about reaching some magical endpoint. It's about constantly learning, evolving, and refining your brand as you grow.
Which brings us to one of the most important points from the podcast, staying true to yourself as you evolve. Your personal brand should be a reflection of who you are at your core. But that doesn't mean it can't change and adapt over time.
It's easy to get swept up in the latest trends or try to copy what other people are doing.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
But at the end of the day, the most successful personal brands are the ones that feel genuine and true to the person behind them.
Totally. So how do we find that balance? Staying true to our core values while also allowing our brands to evolve as we do.
It's about embracing who you are right now while also acknowledging that you're constantly growing and learning. Your brand doesn't have to be static. It can and should evolve along with you. Think of it like a tree.
Okay.
Stays rooted in the ground, but its branches reach out in new directions as it grows taller and stronger.
I love that analogy. So the roots represent our core values.
Yes.
The things that ground us.
Exactly.
And the branches represent the outward expression of our brand
Yes,
as we learn and grow and expand our horizons.
precisely. And as you gain new experiences, new perspectives, your brand should reflect that growth. It's all about finding that beautiful balance between staying true to yourself and embracing change.
This has been such an incredible deep dive so far. We've gone from defining personal branding to unpacking self-reflection,
Yeah.
to crafting a unique value proposition, to building a consistent brand identity, even navigating the world of content creation and audience engagement. We've covered so much ground.
We have, and we've done it all thanks to you and the fantastic source material you brought to the table.
It's definitely been a collaborative effort.
Absolutely. But before we wrap things up, I think it's important to acknowledge that this is just the beginning of your personal branding journey.
It's a lifelong process.
It is. It's a process that will continue to unfold as you learn and grow and connect with the world.
That's exciting, right?
It is. It's a journey of self-discovery, creativity, and connection. So as we move into the final part of this deep dive, let's shift our focus to the bigger picture. What does it all mean?
Yeah.
How does personal branding fit into the grand scheme of your life and your goals?
So we've covered a ton about personal branding. Everything from deep self-reflection to creating awesome content.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. But now I'm curious.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the bigger picture? How does all of this tie into your overall goals and aspirations?
That's the real question, right? It's easy to get lost in the details of building a personal brand, but ultimately, it's all about serving a larger purpose.
I like that, serving a larger purpose. The podcast hosts, Alex and Taylor, talk about how personal branding isn't just about getting more followers or landing a dream job. It's about creating something meaningful.
It's about finding a way to connect with the world in a way that feels genuine and fulfilling. And for you, what does that look like?
It's a great question.
It really is. What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, I want to make a positive impact, whether that's in my career, my community, maybe even on a global scale.
That's a fantastic goal. And you know what? A strong personal brand can help you do that.
So it's not just about building a brand for the sake of having a brand.
Nope. It's about using your brand as a tool to achieve something bigger than yourself.
I see. So how do we make sure that happens? How do we ensure that our personal brands are aligned with our values and our vision for the future?
It goes back to that initial self-reflection.
Right.
If you're crystal clear about your core values, your passions, and your goals, well, then your personal brand will naturally flee from that.
Just having a roadmap, right?
Exactly. It's like having a compass guiding you in the right direction.
Making sure every decision, every piece of content, everything is in alignment with your true north.
Precisely. And remember, your personal brand, it's not a one-and-done thing. It can and should evolve as you do.
I like that.
The key is to stay connected to your core values while also remaining open to new experiences and perspectives.
That can make your journey even richer, right?
Absolutely. And that leads us back to that thought-provoking question from the podcast. If your online presence is an extension of your personal brand, how can you make it a true reflection of who you are?
Ooh, that's a good one. How do we do that?
It's all about infusing your online presence with your personality, your values, and your passions. Share your story authentically and let people connect with the real you.
It's about letting your unique light shine through.
Exactly. And connecting with others on a human level.
Right.
And here's a little secret. Personal branding isn't about crafting some perfect, polished image.
Oh, good, because I'm not perfect.
None of us are. It's about embracing your imperfections, your quirks, your individuality.
Because those are the things that make us .us.
Precisely. And those are the things that people are drawn to. So as you embark on this exciting journey of personal branding,
Yes.
remember to stay true to yourself, be bold, be creative, and most importantly,
What's the most important thing?
have fun.
This has been such an awesome deep dive. Thank you so much for guiding us through this.
My pleasure. Just remember, this is just the beginning. You've got everything you need to create a truly authentic and impactful brand.
I feel inspired. So go out there and make your mark on the world. That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into personal branding.
We had a great time.
And we hope you feel inspired to create a personal brand that is uniquely you. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep being awesome.